Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be talking about the Abundance Code by Julianne Cairns. It's a fascinating exploration of how our beliefs about money can impact our financial success. And we're going to kind of be looking at it not so much from a financial advice perspective. We're not going to be talking about investment strategies.
Yeah.
We're really going to be digging into the subconscious code that might be holding us back.
It's really interesting how Cairns, who is an economist and an experienced investor herself, kind of weaves together those two sides of her experience, the professional and the personal, to show how these often deeply ingrained beliefs about money that we get from childhood or from societal conditioning can really sabotage our financial success, despite our best efforts.
And she actually identifies seven kind of core limiting beliefs about money, these money myths. And it's not that these are good or bad or right or wrong. It's about recognizing how they operate beneath the surface and how they influence our decisions.
And they really are incredibly pervasive, and often we don't even realize that they're shaping our perceptions. And one of the ones that she talks about is the scarcity mindset, right? Which can lead to, fear-driven behaviors like hoarding or a constant sense of competition. Do you remember the story of Greg and the 10-speed bike?
Oh, that's such a good example.
Yeah.
That really encapsulates how deeply ingrained the scarcity mindset can be. Even when Greg's father, could afford to get him the 10-speed bike, he still opted for a cheaper one.
Right. He was kind of trapped in this scarcity, as Cairns calls it. He couldn't break out of that mindset.
And she contrasts this scarcity with this idea of an abundance forest, right?
Yeah.
Where there's this sense of interconnectedness and collaboration and generosity.
And she goes beyond just kind of positive thinking and talks about these cognitive biases that we have, like a negativity bias or confirmation bias, and how our brains are actually kind of wired to focus more on negative information. And this kind of explains why shifting to an abundance mindset requires such conscious effort and continuous practice.
Absolutely, it's not just a one-time thing. And another big myth that she tackles is this idea that time equals money. And she argues that that belief really traps us in this cycle of trading our time for income. And in fact, she actually quit a very prestigious job to break free from that.
It's really inspiring how she shares her personal experiences with us, both the challenges and the insights that she gained along the way. And she encourages us to think about, alternative income streams, right? Like passive income through investments or leveraging the power of compounding returns.
It reminds me of Barry's story, where he had that electronics repair business that ultimately became unsustainable. Nowadays it's just often cheaper to replace electronics than it is to fix them.
Fortunately, Barry had the foresight to invest in some rental properties, which provided him with that safety net and enabled him to kind of pivot, right?
It's such a good example of why diversifying your income streams and having that more flexible approach to wealth creation is so important.
Precisely. And Cairns is really challenging us to think outside of the box and, seek opportunities that align with our values and aspirations.
And one of the most fascinating things about the book is how she explores how these subconscious beliefs can actually shape our reality. Like she even talks about manifesting her dream job simply by changing her belief about it.
Now, I know that might sound a little mystical, but there's a scientific basis for this. We have something called the reticular activating system, or RAS, which basically acts as a filter for our brain, and it's constantly sifting through all this information that we're bombarded with and highlighting the things that are consistent with our existing beliefs.
So it's almost like we're wearing those tinted glasses that we talked
Hmm.
about earlier, right? Our beliefs are coloring how we see the world.
Absolutely. And what Cairns emphasizes is that we have the power to reprogram those beliefs, to change those glasses.
And she gives some really compelling examples and practical techniques to show how we can do that. One of the stories I found really compelling was the one about Michael Larson, the game show winner. He's like a perfect example of that easy come, easy go myth.
He brilliantly hacked the system on that game show, Press Your Luck, won all this money.
But then he ended up investing in a risky Ponzi scheme and got robbed.
It really goes to show that, achieving financial success is one thing, but whether we can sustain it really depends on those underlying beliefs.
Exactly. It's not just about making the money, it's about keeping it. She also talks about, the difference between the newly wealthy and those who inherited wealth and how they often have very different attitudes toward money.
The nouveau riche, as they say, often driven by this need to prove themselves, right? So they might flaunt their wealth. Whereas those who grew up with abundance, they might be more, uh, you know, they might take it for granted and prioritize other markers of social standing.
Like Marlene and Jane, those two roommates who constantly clashed. Marlene came from a wealthy background. She saw abundance as normal, while Jane, who had struggled financially growing up, she held certain judgments about people with money.
They were like speaking different languages. They couldn't really understand each other's perspectives because they had such different money scripts, as Cairns calls them.
And she also explores this really complex relationship between money and happiness. It's easy to just dismiss the idea that money can't buy happiness, but the research is a little more nuanced than that.
Studies show that there is a correlation between higher income and greater happiness, but it's not a straightforward equation. Like if you're working excessively to earn more, that can lead to stress and burnout, and it can mean that you're neglecting other important aspects of your life, like your relationships or your health.
So it's really about finding that balance, right?
Yeah,
Striving for financial abundance, but not at the expense of our overall well-being.
precisely. And Cairns really emphasizes how, our mindset plays a key role in this. Are we driven by scarcity, by competition, or are we seeking freedom, choice, and generosity?
And that brings us to generosity, which is such a key element of this abundance mindset.
When we feel abundant and secure, it becomes easier to be generous. There's even research that suggests that giving to others can actually boost our own happiness levels. It's this generosity effect.
It might seem a bit counterintuitive, but it
Right.
makes sense when you think about how generosity creates this feeling of connection and reinforces the belief that there's enough to go around.
Exactly. Cairns even brings up the story of Ebenezer Scrooge from A Christmas Carol, right, to illustrate this point. Scrooge's transformation from miser to philanthropist really shows how aligning our actions with generosity can lead to greater fulfillment.
It's a classic tale, but still so relevant today. She also asks this really thought-provoking question, does having more money make us better people? Which really challenges some assumptions.
We often associate wealth with, greed and corruption, but is it always the case? The research actually suggests otherwise. There are studies that show a correlation between rising incomes and a decrease in violent crime. So greater prosperity might actually contribute to a more peaceful and just society.
So it seems like money itself isn't inherently good or bad. It's about how we use it. It's about the beliefs that guide our actions.
Right, the abundance code that we're operating from.
And this brings us to that core question. How do we actually reprogram these limiting beliefs about money? How do we embrace this abundance code? Cairns offers a variety of practical techniques.
But before we get into those, it's important to acknowledge that belief change requires, it requires effort and consistency. It's not about, magical thinking. It's about making a conscious choice to adopt new beliefs and reinforce them through practice.
So let's talk about some of those practical techniques. What are some things that Cairns suggests for actually replacing those limiting beliefs and installing a more empowering abundance code?
Well, she recommends a range of methods, including visualization, affirmations, and creating vision boards. These techniques really leverage the power of repetition and imagery to imprint these new beliefs on our subconscious minds.
We've probably heard of these before, but she really grounds them in her own personal experience and gives really clear guidance on how to use them effectively.
It's not just about following a formula. It's about understanding, the principles behind these techniques and applying them in a way that resonates with you, with your values and goals.
So let's start with visualization. She talks about creating these detailed mental images of what we desire, really engaging all of our senses to make the experience as vivid as possible.
It's more than just daydreaming, right? It's about intentionally directing your imagination to create a mental blueprint of your desired reality.
And she even shares how she manifested her dream job by consistently visualizing herself in that role, just reinforcing the belief that it was possible.
It's a powerful testament to how visualization can shift our beliefs and open us up to new possibilities.
Another technique she talks about is affirmations, and she emphasizes creating affirmations that are positive, stated in the present tense, and personally meaningful.
It's not about denying reality or engaging in wishful thinking. It's about consciously choosing to focus on what you want to create, replacing those limiting beliefs with empowering statements that align with your desired outcomes.
And she recommends repeating these affirmations regularly, especially during times when our subconscious mind is more receptive, like when we're relaxed.
And incorporate them into your daily routines. Maybe recite them while you're getting ready in the morning or before you go to sleep at night.
Just that consistent repetition helps to really rewire those neural pathways and make those new beliefs more solid. She also talks about the power of creating a vision board, which is a visual representation of our goals and aspirations.
And this is where her suggestion of creating an ideal life file can be helpful. Gathering images and quotes that resonate with your vision of abundance and arranging them on a board.
So you're putting it somewhere where you see it often,
Hmm.
just as a constant visual reminder of what you're striving for.
And what's really key is the emotional connection that you forge with those images that you select. It's not just about collecting pretty pictures. It's about choosing images that evoke feelings of joy, excitement, sense of possibility.
It's really about tapping into the feeling of having already achieved what you desire.
Exactly. She even suggests creating a mind movie, a personalized video montage that combines visuals, music, and affirmations to really reinforce those desired beliefs.
Almost like creating your own personal abundance propaganda to counteract years of scarcity programming.
Exactly. Have fun with it. Experiment with different techniques and find what works best for you.
And beyond these visualization techniques, she talks about the importance of understanding how habits work and how we can use habit change to support our belief reprogramming.
She draws on Charles Duhigg's work on habit loops, right? Which consist of a cue, a routine, and a reward. So by identifying the cues and rewards associated with our limiting beliefs about money, we can intentionally replace the routine with a more empowering behavior.
So for example, if we tend to impulse shop when we're stressed, we can try to replace that habit with a healthier coping mechanism, like going for a walk or listening to music.
And she emphasizes that belief change is crucial for making habit change stick, particularly under pressure.
So it's like having a solid foundation to support that new structure that you're building.
And Cairns reminds us that our subconscious minds are constantly seeking validation of our beliefs. So aligning our actions with those new beliefs that we're trying to instill is really important.
So if you want to believe that money flows into my life easily, you need to act in ways that support that belief.
Right, like seeking out new income opportunities, making smart investments.
And she briefly touches on other belief change methodologies like neurolinguistic programming or NLP and cognitive behavior therapy or CBT.
It's important to approach these with discernment to find qualified practitioners and to understand that the effectiveness of any technique can vary.
The key is our willingness to engage in the process of belief change.
To really commit to examining our beliefs about money and rewriting those that don't serve us, it's about embarking on this inner journey of self-discovery.
Well, that was a great overview of the key principles and techniques that Cairns presents in the Abundance Code.
Absolutely. We've explored how our subconscious beliefs can really impact our financial reality and, touched upon a range of practical techniques for reprogramming those beliefs.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, I thought it would be helpful to distill the key takeaways into a concise 10-point summary, just to really kind of reinforce those most important insights.
That's a fantastic idea. Give our listener a toolkit for abundance.
Okay, are you ready to dive into our 10-point summary?
I think so. Let's condense those insights.
Okay, so number one, our subconscious beliefs about money, which we often inherit from our childhood experiences or from societal norms, can actually sabotage our financial success.
Number two, Cairns identifies 7 common money myths that can hold us back, including, things like the scarcity mindset, the belief that time equals money, and the easy come, easy go fallacy.
And point number three is shifting to an abundance mindset, believing in interconnectedness, collaboration, generosity is key to attracting wealth.
Our fourth point, breaking free from that time equals money trap by exploring alternative income streams like passive income or investments.
Fifth, our brains are wired to filter information based on our existing beliefs, so this really impacts the opportunities that we see and the choices we make.
Point number 6, reprogramming limiting beliefs takes conscious effort. And we need to use things like visualization, affirmations, creating those vision boards, and we have to do it consistently.
Seventh, we can think back to Greg's story. It was a great illustration of how scarcity beliefs can manifest in unaccepted ways, affecting even our closest relationships.
Point number 8. Michael Larson, the game show winner, he's a perfect example of the easy come, easy go myth in action. Even when we achieve financial gains, those limiting beliefs can lead to downfall.
For number 9, we have Nancy, the successful trader, showing us that a mindset focused on recognizing potential pitfalls, a more balanced approach, can lead to greater financial wins.
And finally, number 10. Real financial freedom comes from aligning our subconscious beliefs with our conscious desires for wealth, for abundance.
There we have it. 10 powerful points to consider as we journey towards abundance.
This is just a taste of what Cairns offers in the Abundance Code, though.
I highly recommend checking out her book for a deeper dive into these concepts and to discover even more practical strategies for reprogramming your beliefs for success.
She provides a really comprehensive guide to understanding and transforming our relationship with money.
Now, before we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought-provoking question, inspired by Karen's final message.
If our financial reality is truly a reflection of our subconscious code, as Karen suggests, what can you do, starting today, to rewrite yours?
What beliefs are shaping your financial experiences right now, and what new beliefs would you like to install to create a reality of abundance? I encourage you to spend some time reflecting on these questions and consider the actions you can take to align those beliefs with your aspirations.
True wealth goes beyond just the numbers in your bank account. It's about cultivating an abundance mindset, embracing generosity, and living a life that reflects your values.
This has been a really incredible exploration of the Abundance Code, and I hope these insights have sparked a new awareness for you and empowered you to embark on your own transformative journey toward financial well-being.
It's been a pleasure exploring these empowering concepts with you.
And remember, the path to abundance is ongoing. It's about nurturing awareness, challenging those limiting beliefs, and consistently aligning your actions with your desired reality.
Every step that we take to rewrite our abundance code brings us closer to a life of financial freedom, fulfillment, and generosity.
So keep exploring, keep experimenting, and never stop believing in the power of your potential.
Until next time, may your journey be filled with abundance in all its forms.
Happy reprogramming. We really went deep today. All those money scripts and how to actually change them. Quite a journey.
I've really enjoyed exploring Karen's approach with you. She has such a good way of combining the psychology, with the practical side of things.
Definitely. It's not enough to just know the strategies. You have to understand the beliefs underneath.
And she gives us the tools to take control of those beliefs and build a financial future that reflects what we actually want.
Not just leaving it up to luck or circumstance, but really recognizing that we can shape our own financial future.
That's a powerful message to leave our listeners with, isn't it? They can rewrite their own abundance code and create a life that's truly fulfilling.
So, to everyone listening, I hope you keep exploring these ideas. Keep trying those techniques we talked about, and most importantly, believe in yourself and your ability to create a life of abundance.
Until we meet again, may your journey be full of prosperity and joy.
Happy reprogramming.